How do you define freedom?
Ooh, that's a deep question. I think the best way to define freedom is with one other word: love, compassion, gratitude, letting things be and not trying to control them, but letting things take their natural course without preventing or stopping people from doing what they truly deep down want to do, as long as, of course, they're not hurting anybody. Um, Freedom to me is the most important part in life, in all aspects of whether it's relationships or society or the way government works. The more freedom that is given to people, the more prosperity there is, not only economically, not only personally, but also just overall everywhere in every dichotomy. Um, it's something that's beautiful. It's something that everyone should strive for, and if they don't, they're they totally have it twisted. They don't know. I don't know. It's like a very open-ended question. I don't know exactly where I want to take this.
An ongoing journey of discovery, dude.
Yeah.
You don't have to take it anywhere else. What do you do for freedom? What's your activism?
Well, to me, if you are trying to make the world a better place, you have to make yourself the best version of yourself, and I think that's a continual process. Uh, Constant introspection, constant just meditation, constant just examining yourself as well and seeing what you could do to help make this world a better place. You try to live as freely as you can, and I've been very blessed and I've been very lucky to have the opportunity to be free in all aspects, whether it's working for somebody or being stuck in a relationship or just being told what to do. I've really tried to set off my life where it's total freedom, total non-control, total finding out, total discovery. And I've always been very curious about the world. I always had many questions about the world. Why things are the way that they are? Why is there a status quo? Why do we have to have all this social pressure on us telling us what to do and what's expected of us? And I just want to break all that. And for the people who are reinforcing it, for the people who are pushing that kind of pressure, that kind of control on you, um, I want to question them. Why? Is this the right way? So it set me off on a journey, whether it's confronting politicians or interviewing individuals who go through just these incredible life moments, whether it's looking at something that hasn't been done before, shining a light on something that is completely dark and giving it meaning, being able to help someone who's in a horrible situation by giving them the attention, giving them the public light, giving them the opportunity to have real, complete justice. I frame my work as a way of just constant discovery, constant finding out what the hell's really going on in this world. And at the same time, not only questioning other people, but questioning myself in where I go in this path, in this kind of journey that I'm on. So I don't know. It's been a wild ride, but it's constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. It's constantly growing, and it's constantly just the most amazing feeling that you could ever have. It gave me a purpose to fulfill in life, and that's the only thing I could ask for in life.
Why do you attend PorcFest?
PorcFest is a very interesting society that comes together once a year here in New Hampshire, where you have feminists, you have Occupy Wall Street people, you have libertarians, you have pro-gun people, you have anarchists, you have Republicans, you have conservatives, you have polygamists, you have hippies, you have liberals, you have all these people coming together that you normally never see together in society, join in this one place and act like they're family and be there for each other. And it's beautiful. It's something you never see out there in society, but it happens here. And it's a beautiful kind of just observation of all these different ideologies, of all these different things. You have all these different people, except for statists, except for people who want to have more control, who want to have more control. These people here are not only extremely open-minded, not only caring and giving, but really the most fascinating people that I've met at any other conference.
How far did you come to get to PorcFest, and did you fly or drive?
Drove from New York City.
What's your favorite part of PorcFest?
Favorite part of PorcFest is without a doubt the bonfires, because at night you have this huge fire, everyone's around the circle, everyone's talking to each other, everyone's not only networking but becoming really good friends with each other, bonding with each other, and it's really a moment where we just kind of step back from the real world and we're enjoying this beautiful kind of nature that's surrounding us with this huge fire pit of just warmth coming at us, which just kind of explains the warmth that comes out of this whole conference. It's very symbolic of what this kind of conference is.
Why should folks at home consider PorcFest in 2016 or consider it as their family vacation every year?
It's weird. It's fun. It's exciting. You never know what you're going to see around the next campsite. It's strange. It's awkward. It's a whole array of emotions, and it's really something that you can't experience. You can't really describe in words unless you're actually here. And it's a worthwhile experience. So I definitely recommend people check it out and just see it for themselves and experience it.
All right, those are my 5 PorcFest questions. These are my other questions. How long have you been an activist?
12 years.
How'd you get started?
I got started um, mainly first as an activist in New York City shortly after 9/11. After 9/11, there was an encroaching police state all over New York City, including Brooklyn. There was one incident that happened where I was wrongfully beat up by the police officers in New York City. No reason, wasn't arrested, was left in a bad shape. And I remember judges, lawyers, the CCRB, Civilian Review Board, all the complaint review boards, every person I went to told me that the incident never happened because there was no video of it. And ever since then, every single day I carry a video camera with me everywhere I go. And that kind of led me on a path of like, hey, this is wrong. Like society is morally wrong. If this could happen to me, imagine what happens to other people, and they're getting away with it. And this is not right. We have to do something together to fight this and to make sure it doesn't repeat. Because if we don't stand up for ourselves right now, they're going to keep abusing us more and more and more. And ever since I've been on the path of researching, questioning everything that we are told in society, and also standing up for myself.
How would you describe your journalistic style?
When I started doing research, very few people ever had that kind of confrontational style. It was very rare to see a confrontation, kind of like a one-on-one, eye-to-eye, man-to-man. Hey, why are you doing this to everybody? And that kind of exchange, the few that I saw online, had so much power within it. You saw an extreme kind of clash of words, the true kind of battle that was taking place between an individual and someone who is in charge and power being questioned on their authority, and seeing that kind of power exchange, seeing someone who usually never gets questioned, seeing someone who has all the power, identifies himself as the authority figure, being put in its place by someone just asking him a simple question and having them back down was something that intrigued me, something that was like, whoa, I want to do this. I need to do this. And seeing a little bit of that online when the internet first came out, I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. People call it ambush journalism, guerrilla journalism, but I just call it journalism. What the mainstream media does is not journalism. What they do is puppeteer. What they do is pretty much take press releases, photos, and videos that are given to them by the government and just rewriting them, or by the corporations, or by the banks, or by the military-industrial complex. They're fed information by those sources, not actually doing their work, questioning authority, being on the ground, talking to the actual people. This rarely ever happens in American mainstream media. You could label it whatever you want. I just call it journalism. You go up and you talk to people. That's what you have to do. And you ask questions that you know need to be asked. It's that simple. So people could label it whatever they want. I just call it journalism.
You use the word rare. Why do you think it's rare for those the so-called journalists that are out there who get paid a lot of money by these big corporations? Why do you think it's rare that they hold people's feet to the fire as far as accountability goes?
Well, there's a number of factors that make journalists not do their jobs. Um, One of them is just incompetence and laziness. If you're given something to rewrite, it's a lot easier to do that than to actually hit the ground and ask people and actually do actual work. The second part is obviously there's a huge conflict of interest. We know a lot of journalists, whether it's Cenk Uygur or the Fox News team that was fired for uncovering Monsanto's um, just crimes and all the horrible things that they did, or Ben Swan, or all these other individuals that have been coming forth saying, yeah, we've just been completely censored by the higher ups who control the media organizations, who have a monopoly force on it, have obvious conflict of interest. Because if the corporations and the government make their money and they have more power and they have more control, they also in hand have that as well. It's a huge conflict of interest when you have advertisers just jamming money down your throat, especially the pharmaceutical industrial complex, the military industrial complex, and all the other freaking complexes that are out there, just jamming money down their throats. Obviously, you're not going to bite the hand that feeds you, and that's what they don't do. But right now, what I'm really excited about is that we don't need that anymore. My mission is to destroy them by doing their job better. And I could do that finally because I have financial freedom, because I have people watching online who also support me. And I'm able to be fully independent, working for individuals that I don't even know who chip in $5 from all over the world. Dozens and dozens of individuals who help me make my job, make my destiny a reality. And that is the only time you could have someone who doesn't have a conflict of interest, because I take no money from any government, any corporation. When you do, obviously, you serve a specific purpose. No one's going to give you money. No one's going to give you a job unless you serve their purpose. What do the elites want? They want you to serve their purpose. What do the elites control? Media. Like it's like not many people get this, but it's pretty simple. Like it's there. It's like here. Like it's all laid out for you.
What are some of your most famous interviews or confrontations?
Um, I think the first one that I ever did with Zbigniew Brzezinski, where I questioned him about not only his rhetoric of false flags, but his engagement and promotion of false flags to get us into war. Um, in that one, I was chased away by security guards who tried to steal my footage, and I had to run away. And the whole thing was very dramatic. You see the whole running scene, you
Yeah.
see the whole chasing scene, you see them dragging me out. So I think the first video solidified not only my start in journalism, but also encouraged other people's to get involved and to show them that anyone could do this.
Yeah. What are some of the cases where the powers that be have tried to set you up or incriminate you or put bombs in your backpack? I remember seeing the video outside World Trade Center 7. Hey, those are wires sticking out of your backpack. I could say you got a bomb.
Obviously, if the powers that be don't like you questioning their power and taking it away from them, they're going to try to stop you. Um, Throughout the years, I've gone through a lot of harassment, intimidations, arrests, physical beatdowns, psychological warfare, intimidation techniques, and man, it's been they've done so many different things. One of the earlier things that they did was um, when I was outside Building 7. They came up to me when I was trying to confront Larry Silverstein, and I was outside Larry Silverstein's building, the owner of the World Trade Center complex. Police came up to me and said, "Leave and stop filming." And I said, "No, I'm not going to do either. We live in a free country and we have every right to do this," which we do. Unless we stop doing it, then it goes away. Um, and they came up to me and they said, "You know what? We're going to say you have a bomb. Your book bag? Yeah, there's wires coming out of it. You have a bomb." They called the bomb squad. They detained us for 2 hours, searched us, took away our video cameras, took away our cell phones. Um, Luckily, at that time, I had someone one block down and another person 2 blocks down filming from afar everything that was happening. And I told them, do whatever you got to do. Arrest me right now if you have to. But there's other camera guys that you're not seeing right now. They already have the video up. Make the call. Do whatever you got to do. And they let us go. Um, there's death threats, phone calls, um, simple death threats. People calling at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning saying they're going to kill me and hanging up. There's other more detailed ones where I was off in like upstate New York and I didn't tell anybody. and they called me, told me exactly where I was. This is when they had flip phones. This is not even with the iPhone GPS tracking system that they have all on us now. Then they called my girlfriend, um, told my girlfriend where I was, and that they're gonna kill her if she doesn't dump me. They had other incidences where they called my other girlfriend and they said, Luke's cheating on you, he's having a baby with me. And obviously, that was not the case in any way, shape, or form. They did this to other activists and other journalists as well, especially after Bilderberg. It seems to be when um, they impact you and they try to silence you the most. Um, Beat up a bunch of times by police, arrested without provocation. Mayor Bloomberg had me set me up, um, had me in central bookings for 3 days for trying to ask him a question. That story is insane, but that's a whole 20-minute story. Um, Detained at the airport, interrogated by FBI, banned from Canada. Um, One of the worst things that they did was they sent me an email right after Bilderberg saying that they're a Bilderberg hotel employee and that they were on the inside and that they're risking their life bringing me photos and videos and all this documentation, all this evidence of what happens inside Bilderberg, and I need to download these files immediately and I need to share them immediately because they're going to take this down and you have once in a lifetime opportunity to download this file. Luckily, I didn't download it. I verified it through a third party, and it was child pornography. So they sent me a lot of child pornography. I went public with the techniques that they were implementing on me. At that time, I was traveling through borders, and at border control, they could take your laptop at any time they want. You have to give them the password. They have a right to look inside everything you do. And if I'm transporting child pornography, whether by accident or not by accident, they won't ask any questions. They'll put you right in jail. And being a child pornographer in jail is not a pleasant time at all. I went public with the story. As soon as I went public with the story, I got more emails from the same email address that couldn't be tracked by the FBI, that the FBI couldn't verify, that the FBI couldn't track down, which is bullshit. Um, and the email specifically said, stop what you're doing, stop your videos, find a new career, or else you're going to be in jail for the rest of your life for child pornography. We will put it on your computer without you even knowing. Go public again, and that's it. I went public again. And that's the only thing that kept me safe. Like, that's the only thing that kept me out of jail, is being able to say, look, this is a horrible, horrible situation. Horrible to even speak about, horrible to even go public about. And I think only because of that I didn't end up in jail.
Summarize for the audience how you deal with intimidation techniques.
If they're going to kill you, they're not going to call you and tell you that they're going to kill you. Life is short. You could die crossing the street. You have a very limited time on this planet. Why not make it worthwhile? Why not make it interesting? And these people who try to bully you, these bullies, they're more afraid of you than you are of them. And we have to understand that they wouldn't be doing this if you weren't effective. So every time something does happen to me, it backfires on them, and they stopped. Because not only does it promote me, but it also motivates me. The first time I got death threats was after our first video with Zbigniew Brzezinski. After that first video where they try to set us up with being terrorists and having bombs at the World Trade Center. After those videos, everyone was getting motivated. Everyone was mimicking We Are Change and doing all these videos. And they automatically got scared and they threatened me and they made those phone calls saying, stop now, we're going to kill you. Stop doing what you're doing. I said, fuck you. This is my house address. Come to my house if you're going to do anything. And if you're going to do something, you're not going to call me and tell me you're going to do it. So now you're pissed me off. Now I'm stepping my game up even more. And that's when we went out and then we confronted David Rockefeller outside his house. We confronted Rudolph Giuliani on his birthday when he announced his presidential bid. And we ruined him because MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, all the major mainstream media outlets were talking about this confrontation on Giuliani's birthday as he announced his campaign about his 9/11 record, which he lied about on record. The media went insane and it became the number one news story that day about how Rudolph Giuliani lied on 9/11. And we made a nationwide impact on his campaign. And then we also got John Edwards, who was running also for president at that time. And then the calls stopped for a while because they knew like I'm not playing. Like piss me off. I'm gonna step my game up even more. You're gonna motivate me to do so much more. You're putting me on the right track. You know I'm hitting the nail on the head once you do this. So keep doing it. Keep propping me up. Do it. It only helps me. And you can't do anything if I don't give you power to. The most powerful thing that individuals have in this world is the power of your reaction. If you understand that you are totally in control, no one could hurt you. Even though they may do bad things to you, like you have to see that as an opportunity. That's what I see it as. And screw it, life is short. We never leave this place alive. Um, Being put to that test, being put through those emotions, being put through those feelings, makes life worthwhile. It means so much more now, and it's beautiful. It's amazing.
You recently covered the G7 financial summit. I'd like to know how you got to cover that.
Um, well,
What special techniques did you use that no one else has? What proprietary knowledge does Luke Radowsky have that no one else has access to, or is it just big balls?
it's called just asking and just going for it and not doubting yourself, not denying yourself of these opportunities, going after anything and everything, even though people tell you it's impossible, even though people tell you you can't do it. Just freaking do it. At the G7, all I had to do was come there, show up. I was with other journalists who were picking up their press credentials, which they needed to apply for 2 months in advance and go through extensive background checks and send in all this documentation and all these letters to attend. I showed up on the day with my friends and I said, here's my press credential, Luke Radowsky, WRC. We don't have you on the list. Check again. I came from New York. Okay, sure, we'll give you one. They just give you one. That's all you have to do. Just show up. Just never deny yourself those opportunities. Never because of the security theater, never because of the pressure on society, deny yourself of any opportunity. Go after it. And it's gonna be given to you. Especially if you believe in it.
So you get into the G7, you're hanging out with all these muckety muck supposed journalists. Do they recognize you? Do they give you hassle, or what happens?
It was a lot of international press. A lot of American mainstream press does know me. I met a couple reporters from the American mainstream media that recognized me there. I had interesting conversations with at the G7. Um, but yeah,
Do you have anything on the record that you can share about the interactions between you and other journalists of the establishment ilk while you were there?
are we talking about the Bilderberg?
Well, I'm just going G7 right now. I didn't know if
Yeah,
you had anything like that from that meeting.
um, nothing of too significance. It's like, hey, we watch your stuff. A lot of times, the mainstream media takes a lot of the work I do and they just steal it and make it theirs. It pisses me off. I'm not litigious. I don't have time to go after them and to sue them. But like a lot of our stuff has been featured by these guys, whether it's just live coverage of events, live streaming, sending out photos, sending out videos of things that are breaking, things that are happening. But the relationship is skewed. Um, uh, I'm friends with everybody, but um, we come from two different breeds of journalism, and we don't have many things in common.
So, what did you do after the G7? When that was over, did you come back home, or where'd you go?
Right after the G7, we went straight towards the Bilderberg Hotel, right out of the conference room with our press passes still on. We knew Bilderberg was happening about 30 minutes away, and there was 1,500 journalists at the G7. All of them, except for a select few, Charlie Skelton and other independent media. Um, all the 1,500 mainstream media journalists just left. And we decided to cover that very important event.
G7 was where in Austria?
The G7 was in Garnisch, Germany.
And then 30 miles away, you've got Telfs. They've got some sort of compound where they're going to have the Bilderberg conference. How did you penetrate the world's most, highly secured area?
I think we got very lucky. Um, we showed up. We decided to play it cool at the police checkpoints. They were guarding the place like it was Fort Knox. It was on top of a hill, clouds underneath it. It looked like The Shining. It was like a haunted house on the hill. It was really eerie and weird. They invested millions of dollars. Took a year and a half for security operations. They had fighter jets. They had freaking jammers. They had all the latest technology. They had grids. They had a 6 mile radius where people could not even walk into. And if they did, they would have been fined 500 euros or spent 3 days in jail. This huge security operation, hundreds and hundreds of police officers. We go through there, and we decided to play it cool at first. We're not going to film. We're going to really try to get in there. They asked us a couple questions. They searched our bags. They took our passports, and they said, "What are you doing?" And we just confidently said, "We're going to the hotel," with our press credentials on. And I think the main reason that they let us through is when we went to the hotel, the only other people who were there was the White House press corps. The top echelons of the U.S. mainstream media was there. They might have thought that we were on a little trip and that we came back, and they let us stay there. We had the same press credentials as the White House press corps in that hotel. And I think that's the only reason we were allowed to be in there.
So you didn't have to use some sort of James Bond, come out of the water and take off the wetsuit into your tuxedo. You didn't have to impersonate somebody else. You didn't have to wear a disguise. All you had to do was let them assume that because you had this shiny badge, that you were allowed in.
Yeah, it's all about not only your state, not only your energy, but just about knowing that you're going to get this. Yeah, I'm going to get this. Security, especially Secret Service, they know how to read your body language. They know how to read nonverbal communications. They know how to trip you up during interrogations by asking false questions and misleading questions. They know how to read people very well without them even saying a single word. But once you act like, hey, I'm not doing anything wrong, I'm doing my job, I'm going up there. This is where I need to go. And once you're confident, once you're in state, once you're not just natural, security just breezes on by you. Other people have that mindset, like, oh my God, I kept going in here, and they put themselves in their head and they give off all these cues that make them just complete targets for security. Um,
So your intellectual self-defense is bolstered by knowing that what you're doing is right, that you have the moral high ground, that you're not doing anything wrong. You should just be in there, and therefore you can just act natural. Let's juxtapose your philosophy of kind of flying under the radar. Why don't you stand out front with a bullhorn or broadcast right away saying we're infiltrating their security? Or why don't you just? Why do you do things the way you do, and why do you think it's effective?
Personally, I went through many facets of my career. When I was younger, I was very prideful, very egotistical. I was the guy with the bullhorn screaming down the street. I was the guy seeking all the attention. But then I learned after a while, if you really want to um, make people see the light of day, if you really want to wake people up, if you really want to educate them and inform them, you're not going to be outside with a bullhorn screaming at them, telling them what to believe in. You're going to be showing them all the things that they need to see so they can make up their own mind. I have confidence. I have true trust in everything that I'm doing, that if I just provide you the information, you will get to that certain point that you need to get to independently by yourself. Um, a lot of people take shortcuts. They just want to be told what to do. But it takes a specific person to gather information and make up their own mind. I'm trying to teach people this is what we all need to do, because you shouldn't trust anybody. You shouldn't trust me. You shouldn't trust the person behind the camera. You shouldn't trust anybody but yourself.
And you teach people through your action. You're not just sitting behind a desk like a professor saying, go out and do this. You actually get out there and you lead by example.
No, it's very important to lead by example. It's very important to show people that it's okay to do something. A lot of people have, this kind of stigma, like, oh my God, I can't do this. I shouldn't do this. No one else is doing this. Oh my God. It always takes one person to just like make that one little step, and then everyone takes that step. At the last day of Bilderberg, all the Bilderberg guys were coming in with police escorts into the airport. There's about 15 independent journalists there, and we're there filming. And I just noticed everyone's quiet, and these guys are walking right in front of them. Everyone is just silent. Everyone is just quiet, just filming them. And I was like, why aren't we talking to these guys? We want to know what's happening. We want to know what's going on. Let's talk to these guys. And I started like, hey, what did you guys do in there? What's going on? Give us an interview. Give us a comment. Not here. I'm going to see you in New York, Zolik, like I saw you last time. Wolfenson, I saw you in Colorado. I'm going to see you again. We're going to talk. Be prepared to say what happened here. And then once I started doing it, everyone else started doing it. Everyone else started saying, hey, give us a comment, give us a quote. And then it came from us just standing there filming them walking in to like this whole TMZ red carpet paparazzi event with just flashes going off, people like screaming at them, what'd you do? What was going on in there? Why is there no press? Why is there so much secrecy? And they had to hear it. And it just shows one person takes a step, everybody else is going to take a step. You have to lead by example. You have to make that first step. And when you do, other people will join you.
So you're in this nefarious, shining like Bilderberg Hotel in Telfs. You're there before the conference starts. You've got cover provided. You got this press pass, and you're hanging out with all these people from the White House press corps. What types of interactions did you have in the hotel before the conference actually started?
Um, you mean with the mainstream media?
Yeah.
Being in that hotel room, we also met other journalists that we met at the G7. Other journalists who also recognized us from the G7. We were just hanging out with them, just being friendly at first, not bringing up anything serious. Um, you don't want to kind of force information down people's throats. You kind of want to slowly get to know them, put the barriers down, and that's what we did at first. And then it came to a point where we're in the smoking room, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're all drinking, and we're all getting hammered, and the guard is down. And I thought that was a great opportunity to talk to people, to talk to them, to reach out to them, to be like, hey, do you know what's happening here in just a few days? And then giving them all their information, telling them about the work that I'm doing, telling them how this is never covered by the American mainstream media. You are here. You are the American mainstream media. There's a reason this is happening. There's a reason this needs to be told. And they were like, wow, like, we agree. But we have a family. We have a mortgage. We have to do what we're told. And that's exactly what we do. We're puppets. You guys are real journalists. And like they broke down, you know. Maybe it was the alcohol. I don't know what it was. They broke down, and they solidified everything that I thought, everything that I believed. They just solidified it that much more.
What other activities did you notice while you were there? Did they pick? How did they pick up on you? If they picked up on you, what was the rest of the week like? And what led to your egress from the hotel?
Well, there was a lot of staff members. There was a lot of security guards running around anxiously, running around nervously, just miserable. Everything was closed down in the hotel. We were left the only ones there. Me, Dan Dix of Press for Truth, Jeff Berwick of the Dollar Vigilante. It was just us three. The White House press corps left, and we're there, and it was eerie, and it was just wild. Be like, what? How is this even happening now? There's black helicopters flying in. There's barricades being put up. It was just weird seeing them set up and like, hey, we're here. So they're preparing for Bilderberg, and obviously I want to take advantage of the situation as much as I can. So we started walking around looking for everything. We actually saw the actual conference room where the Bilderberg group meeting was taking place. It was a huge room, huge conference room. Everything was in this like white and blue kind of velvet silk kind of decor. They had a lot of tables. They had like a smaller table that was a C-section and a bigger table that was a C-section. Every table had a microphone, and they had a huge telescreen right outside, which means that they were communicating, or probably just watching some of our YouTube videos. They were probably, most likely, they were communicating with other world leaders around the world at this secretive a meeting that was taking place. And as soon as we got inside, as soon as we saw everything, where the actual meeting was taking place, we just got grabbed up by security. We talked our way into chilling them out for a little bit. We kept walking around. Chief of police comes, starts interrogating me, starts harassing me, starts looking for faults in my story. There were none. Um, they were confused about the situation. How is this even possible that you're here? You're not with the building. They were shocked. And then I hear my voice, and they're playing my YouTube video. And then I walked over to them, and they run away, and all I hear is shiza, shiza, and like like 999. And then they, told me that I failed a background check, and that I couldn't be there. And I asked them, what's happening inside of here that I'm not allowed to be in here when I just came from the G7 and I passed their background check. And they really didn't have an answer for that. Told us to leave. My friend was arguing with them, so they said everything's on us. We'll pay for everything: the room, the dinners, your mini bar. We closed the door, raided the mini bar, took whatever we could from the hotel because it was on the Bilderbergers, and they escorted us out of there. And we left. As soon as we left, there was about 12 black SUVs pulling up. So they got us out like right, kind of in the nick of time.
So they didn't want to lose their jobs. They're like, we'll take care of whatever your objection is. Please just get out of here, because if you're found here, we're all going to get fired or worse.
Yeah, the main chief of police that interrogated us and was looking for faults in our story and was asking misleading questions, the main police chief of Austria. We see him on the last day of Bilderberg at the police airport, at the airport where the Bilderbergers were coming in, and my friend Dan Dix, who was with us at the time, confronts James Wolfenson. The head of police, the chief of police, walks up, grabs Dan, starts cursing him out, says, "You're an ass! You're an ass!" He just starts just freaking out with the sight of Dan Dix confronting the Bilderberg member. He pushes Dan Dix out of the airport and then sees me walking in casually. Sees me, he's like, "You again!" It freaks out, grabs me, and throws me at the police line. And curses us out again, which shows you how mad he was just by seeing us again, which just shows you how much they got in trouble for making that mistake.
All right. Earlier, you mentioned the story about Bloomberg. That would take 20 minutes. Do you have time to recount that for the record?
I'll give the abbreviated version. Um, a lot of my friends were 9/11 first responders, rescue workers, heroes, police officers, military men, EMTs who came down after 9/11 and helped out in the rescue efforts. They were true unsung heroes. Some of them weren't even called, and they showed up on that day to help people, to rescue people, to be there for the city when it was at its worst time. The government at that time knowingly lied to them, knowingly falsified scientific documents, and told them the air was safe to breathe. Mayor Bloomberg at that time, because a lot of these first responders were also asking questions about what really happened on that day, Mayor Bloomberg, who was confronted with 9/11 truth by me many times, decided to just be a total a-hole to all 9/11 first responders and started denying the medical benefits that was guaranteed to them. And we have people who risked everything, who were dying from the asbestos down there that were told didn't exist. These individuals couldn't even get the medical benefits that were promised to them, and Bloomberg was cutting them. He was denying them aid, making sure bills would not pass to help these guys, to allocate funds to be able to give them medication that should have been given to them.
Mm-hmm.
And these people were dying on a day-to-day basis, and we're talking about 50,000 individuals. Knowing a lot of these individuals, I made it my mission, I made it my purpose to confront Mayor Bloomberg, and we confronted him everywhere. He went on a radio show, we called in. He went on a subway, we were there. He was at a ribbon cutting event, I was there. He did a press conference, I was there. Every question: why are you denying 9/11 heroes proper benefits and what they are entitled to underneath their contracts? Why are you doing this? He couldn't face that. It came during his re-election, where he contacted a major organization that was also raising funds, that I was raising funds for as well, that was helping these responders independently outside of government. He contacted this organization and he told them, Radowsky needs to stop. Please, whatever you do, have Radowsky stop. If Radowsky stops, I will support the James Serdroga bill. I will personally do galas and events for you. I will personally make sure no benefits get cut, and I will make sure you guys get the proper medical attention that you guys need. Just stop Radowsky. Stop him. If he leaves me alone for the next 6 months and I get reelected, your word is mine. Do you want to work together or not? And that organization called me and they said, Luke, stop. I was like, he's lying to you. Like, Luke, just stop. I'm like, he's lying to you. He's freaking lying to you. But I respect you guys. You guys are my friends. I will do what you say, not for him, but for you. And I did. I saw him at other events. He's walking by, waved at him, didn't say anything, didn't confront him on camera, didn't make him feel awkward, didn't pressure him in any way, shape, or form, even though I had so many freaking opportunities to do so as I was working in New York City. 6 months pass. Bloomberg gets reelected and cuts unemployment benefits for first responders and lies and fights the James Serdroga bill in Congress. Get a phone call from that same organization. Luke, you were fucking right. He lied. Get him. Like, I told you so. Okay. Hung up the phone, found out where he was at, goes to the event, show up at the event Matt Bloomberg is doing, going up the escalator, 2 suits, NYPD Intelligence, right up top, so I just see their bald heads as I'm going up, shining in the light. They're like, Radowsky, I'm like, what's the problem? They come downstairs with us. I'm like, why? Just come downstairs with us. I was like, I'll play along. Turn on my video camera. They're like, you can't be here. I'm like, okay, let's go outside. They're like, no, stay here. You're detained. I'm like, okay, wait, let's get this on record, on camera. I'm being detained right now. I was like, can I be detained outside so I can have a smoke? No. Stay right here. You're being detained. We want you here. We want to talk to you. Stood there with the camera on. 15 minutes passed. There's a bunch of suits all around me. There's about 10 NYPD intelligence officers around me, circling me, making sure I didn't go anywhere, telling me I can't go anywhere, telling me I can't leave. And 10 police officers come, and then the main officer who was talking to me looks at me, smiles, puts my hands behind my back, handcuffs me, and says, Luke, we told you to leave. You didn't leave. This is criminal trespassing. And then they sent me to jail for 3 days in Central Bookings in New York. Story went mega viral. I'm in jail. Word gets out that I got arrested for no reason at all. It was a total setup. After that setup, everyone's going crazy about it online. I'm at the precinct. All the cops I'm becoming friends with. Some of them are even fans. And then I noticed, like, the desk guy just, like, constantly picking up the phone and smashing it, and smashing it, and smashing it, and then smashing it, until he unplugged it and just threw it away. And then later I realized it was everyone calling, demanding my release. The officer said, yeah, you'll be out in just a few hours at the precinct. We'll give you a ticket, and you come to court. It'll be fine. NYPD Intelligence shows up, and they start going through everything, going through my phone, going through my camera, looking at my private data, taking down every little piece of information that they can. And then they mess up my paperwork, and they make sure I go to Central Bookings. The police officers were telling me what was going on. They were like, those guys just came in, and they're doing everything. They're telling us that you have to go to Central Bookings. Sent me down to Central Bookings. Spent 3 days down there. Miserable, horrible conditions. Made friends with a lot of people. A lot of people were also fans down there as well, which made my time a lot easier down there. But we're talking about 60 people stuck in, like, not even a 40 square foot, like, place. Like, it was just miserable with constant lights and sandwiches that were, like, hard as rocks. Finally get to have my first hearing from Central Bookings, and New York Post, New York Times, Daily News, all the papers are there. They're like, oh my God, can't believe this happened. We have to talk to them. We have to see their arraignment. We have to do this. The judge sees this, sends me back of the line. I was supposed to be up. All the journalists leave because it's hours and hours that time passes by. They can't be there. The journalists leave. They finally bring me out. I am not guilty. But took me out of the courtroom, finally free, but they have my video camera, and they're using it as evidence, and they're going to hold it as the trial goes on. Finally got my camera back, and the DV tape that I had is cut, and they tried to destroy the evidence. Yeah, that's it.
Last two questions. I'm gonna let you off the hook. What's your next project,
Next project,
or
I
what are
don't,
you working on now?
I don't know.
Ah,
I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what the next big project is. I'm gonna see where things take me. I'm gonna see where the latest breaking news is, and I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be reporting. I'm gonna keep my mind open. I have no preset destination, and I think that's one of my strengths. It's like, let's see what happens. Let's see what I find out. Let's see who comes to me. Let's see what I see on this path, on this journey. So I'm open for anything and everything. Anything's possible. We'll see where it takes me.
how can folks at home support your endeavors?
Um, if you want to support the work that I'm doing, simply watching, sharing, liking, commenting means so much to me. Engaging, sharing the videos with your friends that you think could make them think differently. That means the world to me. Doing this work with me means the world to me. Seeing other independent journalists out there in the field with me is heartwarming. Get involved. Just get involved and fight. If you don't, you could also, you know, do whatever you can. Donate, invest in us. If you want to see us grow, if you want to see us expand, if you want us seriously to take on the mainstream media, invest in us. Donate, um, participate, share, be involved. And if you like it, it's only you who's going to make sure it continues. One thing that I started realizing is that uh, one person going up against the grain is not only a very long and tedious and very overwhelming adventure, but that it's a lot better and a lot easier when you have other people joining in on the fight. And that's why I started ChangeMeeting University. I want to teach other individuals from A to Z how to do this professionally, from starting your website, for monetizing your content, thinking of brands, looking at the market, uh, doing videos, editing videos, getting press connections, getting an event, sneaking in. I created a resource that teaches you everything, and I'm adding to those resources as technology changes, as it advances, so I could help fast track people from where I was 12 years ago. I made a lot of mistakes. You could start right now. You could check out ChangeMeeting University, and you could avoid all those mistakes I made, and you could go into where you need to be, and you could be as productive as you can, as fast as you can with ChangeMeeting University.
Thank you, Rick.
Uh,
Let me get your mic.